presidential pardons, right? They always seem to get people talking. But this one really got me thinking back in 2021. Trump was on his way out, and boom, pardon for Ross Ulbricht, the Silk Road guy.
Yeah, the Silk Road. It really was something else. Way ahead of its time. I mean, think about it. This wasn't just like some shady eBay, right?
Right.
This was a whole hidden website. We're talking the dark web, and they were using Bitcoin. Most people barely even knew what Bitcoin was back then.
I mean, $1 billion. Over $1 billion in sales before the feds finally shut it down in 2013.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, okay, we got to dive into this. What you call this one? The Ulbricht Enigma? Something like that.
Ulbricht paradox, yeah.
Paradox, perfect. So this is a deep dive, right? We got to figure out why this pardon happened, why it got everyone so riled up on both sides. I mean, this thing blew up.
It did.
And what does it all mean for online marketplaces? What does it mean for crypto? Like, where do we even begin?
Well, I think, to really understand this, we have to start with Ross Ulbricht. Who is this guy?
Right. Because he almost seems like he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, before Silk Road, on paper, he was a pretty regular guy, physics grad, kind of an entrepreneur type. I think he was even making, belts or something.
Yeah, selling belts online or something.
Yeah. But then he creates this marketplace, which, you got to admit, was innovative. It was technically impressive.
Definitely.
But the problem was it was super illegal. And he gets caught. And the charges were no joke.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking conspiracy to commit drug distribution, money laundering,
Hacking.
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And Ulbricht's lawyers, their argument was that he wasn't actually directly selling anything illegal.
Right. Just the platform.
Just the platform. Like he was just the landlord or something.
All right. Exactly.
But the jury wasn't buying it.
No.
Guilty. And the sentence? Life plus 40 years. I mean, even back then, a lot of legal experts were like, whoa, that seems pretty extreme, doesn't it? Especially for a non-violent first-time offender.
Yeah, it was a huge debate.
So then, fast forward, 2021, Trump's on his way out, and he's going to his list, right?
Yeah.
Checking things off. He's like, pardon this guy, pardon that guy, and then boom, he announces it on, of all places, Truth Social.
I mean, that was a very Trump move,
Well,
right?
Trump.
To make that announcement there.
And not only that, he specifically addresses Ulbricht's mother. Like, he name drops her, says this sentence is ridiculous, which, by the way, a lot of people, even people who aren't, Trump fans, kind of agreed with that part.
Yeah, and we can't forget the role of the libertarian movement in all this.
Right, because they were really pushing for this, right?
Huge. I remember Angela McArdle, the chair of the Libertarian National Committee, she basically called Ulbricht a political prisoner. She said this pardon was a landmark moment in libertarian history.
So it was a huge win for them.
Okay, but this is where it gets controversial.
Huh.
Because some people see it as justice served, like finally this guy gets a second chance. But others, they're like, whoa, hold on a minute. Exactly. It's like, where do you even start? I mean, there's a reason why people were so angry about this.
Yeah, because the arguments for the part, they make sense on the surface. You've got the sentence was crazy long argument, right?
Right.
And the argument that he was nonviolent, first-time offender.
Right.
The whole, this is an example of government going too far kind of thing.
Absolutely. You see this argument a lot in libertarian circles.
But the arguments against the pardon, also pretty strong. I mean, you can't just ignore the fact that Silk Road was used for some bad stuff.
Yeah, it was basically the Amazon of illegal drugs.
And for law enforcement, this was a huge deal. Like, they were really struggling to keep up with these new darknet markets.
Right, because it was so new. And this was uncharted territory for law enforcement.
So for them, shutting down Silk Road was like a major victory. And then this pardon comes along, and it feels like, to a lot of people, like it's undermining the whole thing. And you can't talk about this without mentioning the impact on the victims. I mean, there were people who had lost loved ones to drug overdoses, and they were speaking out, saying this pardon was re-traumatizing them. It felt like their pain was being completely ignored.
Yeah, it was a very emotional issue.
And then there's the whole crypto angle.
Right, because Silk Road was like a poster child for early Bitcoin adoption.
Exactly. And this pardon just brought all those questions back up. Is this legitimizing Bitcoin's use in these illegal marketplaces? What does this mean for the future of crypto?
It was a real turning point in that debate. So, okay, the pardon happens. What does Ulbricht do?
Well, his statement after he got out was all about gratitude, second chances.
Yeah.
Wanting to use his freedom to, contribute to society, do some good.
Right, atoning for his past.
But he didn't really say anything about his future plans, which, makes you wonder, what is he going to do?
All right, what is Ross Ulbricht going to do with his life now?
So to wrap all this up, right, we've got this guy, he creates this crazy website that, like, nobody had ever seen before. It gets huge, that it gets shut down, he goes to prison for life. Then Trump pardons him.
And the whole thing just raises so many questions about, justice reform, about the role of technology, and the whole question of how do you even regulate this stuff?
Exactly. It's like Silk Road was almost a preview. Think about all the decentralized platforms we're seeing popping up now, right?
Right.
Using blockchain. Everything's anonymous. I mean, is this going to be the new norm?
It's a great question. Like, how will governments respond to this new wave of technology? I mean, are we going to see another Silk Road? Is that inevitable? Or have we learned something from all this? It's kind of scary to think about.
It is kind of scary.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we leave it for our listeners. What do you think? Another Silk Road? What's next?
I mean, it's a brave new world out there. And with technology moving as fast as it is, I think we're only just beginning to understand the implications of all this.
The Ulbricht paradox, indeed.
Yeah.